I finally bought Cubase 14. Why did it take so long? I will tell you. There may be some ranting, and I'm going to ask you some hard questions. Actually, they're not that hard. But if you are thinking of upgrading to Cubase 14, or indeed want to buy the full version of Cubase 14, now is probably the best time to do it. Let's start with that. I'm making this video at the beginning of April 2025, and until the 28th of April, Steinberg is offering a 30%. Guys, it's software. If you're going to have a sale, it should be at least 50%. Anyway, they are offering a 30% discount on the full version of Cubase and also on the upgrades. So you can see the prices here. They are in pounds. These are the full prices. Yes, you save 30%. And these are the upgrade prices. If you log into Steinberg from your own country, you will probably see these in your own currency. I'd be interested to know what the US dollar price is. But as well as the discount, you also get some freebies. We'll look at the freebies in a moment, but there are two very important pieces of information about the freebies that I think you should know about. So let's see why it took me so long to upgrade to Cubase 14. If you've seen some of my earlier videos, you may recall that I made actually 2 videos about Cubase 13. Now, we were all excited when this was announced, but when you look at what's actually in the 13 upgrade, it was absolutely dismal. And of course, the usual suspects were making videos saying this was the best thing since grilled halloumi. I made a video just saying it was an absolute disgrace to put this out as a 0.1 upgrade and charge a full upgrade fee for it. If I had been on the Steinberg team which decides what goes into an upgrade when it's released and how much to charge for it, I would have been absolutely ashamed. Anyway, 5 months later, they did another 30% discount, so I did upgrade, and yes, I made a video about that as well, basically saying how disappointing it was. I think I've used one of the features in 13 since that release. Anyway, I was so absolutely miffed at this blatant cash grab from Steinberg, I vowed not to pay full price for the next upgrade, whatever that may be. So here's Cubase 14, and spoiler alert if you're still with me, this is the upgrade that 13 really should have been. Now, everyone on their pet rock has made a video about Cubase 14. I am not going to go into any detail at all about what's inside. I will mention a handful of improvements and new features which I think are very exciting and worth the upgrade. Anyway, so I refused to buy it when it was launched. I know, I've saved a few quid, but it's the principle of the thing. As consumers, we can only vote with our wallets and create a stir on social media too, if you want to. But as an individual, all we can do is to vote with our wallet, and that's exactly what I have done. A little bit more about that in a moment. So if you haven't delved into what's new in Cubase 14, here are just a couple of things which I think are very exciting and which I am very excited to explore. I shall leave a link to the Cubase 14 new features page if you want to check that out on the Steinberg site. The thing which I think is excited and interested most people also interests me, and that is the modulators section. This allows you to select modulators such as an LFO, an ADSR, a sort of step sequencer thing. There's a macro knob. You can apply these modulations to virtually, I believe, any parameter within Cubase, including third-party instruments. So to give the very, very basic and simple and probably the most used example, you can use the LFO to modulate the cutoff frequency on a third-party VST plugin. And that is really just absolutely scratching the surface. I find this very exciting, really looking forward to trying that. And a similar sort of vein, you can also apply a probability factor to notes and also sort of a velocity variation as well. So we're heading a little bit in towards generative music, which Cubase hasn't really looked at before. I think other DAWs such as Ableton with its Max for Live environment, and I'm not sure about Bitwig, but I'm sure there's another DAW which sort of leans into this generative aspect. So as a composer, as someone who is writing and composing music in the DAW, I think these things are really interesting and well, going to be very useful. There are two new effects, a studio delay if you need another delay. This has a few interesting additions, I have to say, but there is also a shimmer reverb. This is really interesting, particularly for anyone making ambient music. Now, I made a couple of videos about a couple of free shimmer reverbs, links in the description, of course, one for PC and one for PC and Mac. Now, I've only played one sound through the shimmer reverb so far. I've only had Cubase 14 for less than a day, but it sounded really impressive. Looking forward to trying that. And one other thing I'm going to mention, and that's it. They have revamped the mixing section at the bottom of the screen. Now, in 13 and earlier versions, this would display the faders and the pan settings and so on, but that was it. If you wanted to look at the inserts and the sends, you had to click on a little icon on the left. So now they have got rid of the separate sections of the icons, and you can now apply inserts and sends directly on the main channel. I think there's a lot of customization here as well. I think I'm going to find that very useful. Anyway, that's enough of that. You can check out the list of new features if you wish on the Steinberg page, link in the description. So let's look at the freebies. The higher up the ladder, if you like, that you go with Cubase, the more freebies you get. And they are divided into three sections: Elements, Artist, and the Pro version. So all versions get Lander, is that how we pronounce it? Lander FX Beats and a multi-chorus effect. All versions also get Bloom Vocal Ether Light. It's a bit of a mouthful, which is perhaps fitting because it contains vocals and singing sounds and all sorts of lovely stuff. Really looking forward to trying that. Now, if you have Artist or the Pro version, then you get Fire the Delay, which is another delay plugin. Can you have too many delay plugins? I don't know. I'm going to say no, you can't. Each one is slightly different, so looking forward to trying this. And you also get a Softtube Bad Speaker. The title says it all. It is a bad speaker distortion effect suitable for lo-fi sort of tracks. You also get Safari Pedals Time Machine, which is another sort of lo-fi compression distortion effect. You also get Stark, which is an amplifier simulation. If you are familiar with Native Instruments Guitaric, it's sort of a bit like that. It has modules which you can switch around to produce different amp effects. If you have the Pro version, you also get Steinberg's Metal and Ice instrument. This looks really cool, no pun intended. I've heard a few demos, sounds really good. Really looking forward to trying this one. You also get BX Clipper for clipping. And you also get Analog Machines Essentials. There's a bit of a thread flowing through these upgrades, I think. Many of them are geared towards lo-fi and distortion sounds. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be. And the final biggie for Pro users is Arturia's RevPlate 140, which, as it says on the tin, is a simulation of a reverb plate effect. Apparently a ginormous unit back in the day, which is supposed to have a super warm sound. So yes, another reverb. Looking forward to trying that one out. So loads of freebies, and yes, they are free, so what is not to like? Now, two very important points about the freebies. When you upgrade or buy version 14, you have to log into your Steinberg account on the Steinberg website, and there you will find voucher codes for the freebies. So you have to go to each developer's website and use the voucher codes to get your freebies. But these vouchers will expire on the 28th of April, so you do need to get a move on and make sure you get them before they expire. The second important thing to know is that if you are already a Cubase 14 owner, so that means you bought it before this special offer, you were one of the brave few who bought it when it came out, you still get the freebies. Now, not already having had Cubase 14, I don't know if Steinberg would send you an email informing you of the fact. But again, if you log into your Steinberg account on the Steinberg site, you should see vouchers for the freebies. Now, this is, I think, the way to do it. This is how to handle freebies when you're using them as part of the promotion. Existing users get the same benefits as totally new users. Now, you might think this is the fair and sensible thing for any company to do, and yes, of course, I'm going to agree with you, but Native Instruments, to name but one company, does not do this. They have offers and freebies, but these are only for new customers, not existing ones. So Steinberg has done this right, and they did a similar thing, I think was with a 12 upgrade. They gave away Arturia's CS80 V4. So they have almost redeemed themselves in my eyes. I have paid twice for an upgrade, which really should have just been the one upgrade. They are not quite back on my Christmas card list. We'll have to see what the Cubase 15 release does, or if they update 14 with some more new interesting stuff. Anyway, a couple of hard questions for you, which are not hard at all. So if you already have Cubase 14, I'd be interested to know what feature or features of the upgrade you find the most useful and interesting. And if you have not yet upgraded to 14, given the new features in this release, are you more inclined to do so? I'm thinking of people who looked at 13 and thought, no, this is pretty rubbish. So let me know. I am really curious about how people use the gear they have. That's it for this one. If you were watching this sometime in the future after the end of April, I'm not sure if Steinberg will repeat this offer. I have a feeling they did not repeat the previous offer. But who knows? Who can predict what a software company is going to do? So thank you as always so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. There's a big subscribe button and a thumb button. Clicking either of those would be a massive help. Thank you for doing that. I will see you again in the next video.